Next up in our small batch 2-hop series, we put the first 6 beers side by side. Welcome back, everybody. So if this is your first time here and you're into home brewing, go ahead and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, as we will be having a lot more content like this. So in this series, this is our 2-hop series. We're starting at the beginning. We're going to pick 2 hops, or we did pick 2 hops. We're going to do a whole bunch of beers different ways. Then we'll move on to 2 more hops, or we might add some different grains to it. So right now, this is the first 6 that are ready. I actually think as of right now, when I'm recording this, I've done 17. I've got 17 beers either bottled or bottled and in a carboy waiting to go. So I don't know how we're going to do this when we get more of these. Now, on the first couple, the first 3 or 4, I did use 22-ounce bottles. So the ones I used 22-ounce bottles on, we've got 4. After that, it's done. But I could save some just to the end to do. There's actually 20 in the series, but I don't think I'm going to have enough room. I'm going to have to move the camera back to get all of them on there. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through all of them. We're going to open them. Yes, some are open, but those are the reviews I just did. If you want to see me pop the top because you don't believe me, go back and watch those. They're the same bottles. So the first one up, I've got my Beersmith notes here, was Cascade in 2-row. That was it. Batch 1 was bottled on 8.8 and came in at 6.73%. So let's go ahead and open it. I have done a review and a side-by-side of number 1, number 2, and number 3, if you want to go check that out. So this would be technically the second tasting of the first 3. All these have or did use the Cooper's carbonation drops. It did. They all used 2 of them. Carbonation level might be a little bit different on some of them because these are 22-ounce bottles. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Then these are 25-ounce bottles. This one and this one. So carbonation level could change a tiny bit, but it's home brewing. That's what we're dealing with. Second one is Cascade or Centennial Cascade. Number 1 was Cascade Centennial. We switched the hops. So this is Centennial Cascade. This was bottled on 8.11 and comes in at 5.74%. I don't think it's a new cap. Nope. Reused cap. Go ahead and get it in here. Yeah, this one, the carbonation level's not as crazy because those are the drops, the big drops. You could if you really wanted to, but it would be a hard thing to do to cut them up to get a little less in there. I'm not that worried about it, so we'll keep going. So beer number 3 is Centennial Cascade with oats. Now this is, all these are using 2 pounds, 4 ounces of 2-row. Then the specialty malts or the secondary malts are added on top of that. Some of these going forward, when we get into like 10, 11, and 12, if they use a different or another grain with it, I might have adjusted that 2 pounds, 4 ounces down to 2, then added the specialty grain. This was bottled on 8.12 and comes in at 7.69%. Why is this higher? Oats actually have sugar in them. So because I used half a pound, we are going to pull sugar out of there, which is going to let sugar into the fermenter and more sugar for the yeast to eat. There we go. So that was beer 3 out of this first set. Probably what I'm going to do is move all these bottles off to the side once we get done talking about them so you guys can see the full color range of this. Beer 4 is Cascade Centennial with cherry wood smoked malt. That is a 1/4 pound on top of the 2 pounds, 4 ounces of 2-row. That was bottled on 8/19, comes in at 7.14%. Beer number 5 is Cascade Centennial with Vienna malt. This was bottled on 8/30, comes in at 7.51%. And beer number 6 is Cascade Centennial with Crystal 40 malt. 9/8 it was bottled, and it comes in at 6.89%. So there they are. I'm going to move the bottles off. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. Brought them all together. Bottles are off on the side. So let's get into this. So first thing I noticed, number 1, which is the Cascade Centennial, and beer number 4, which is the Cascade Centennial with cherrywood smoked malt, have the best heads. They're not a lot, but those are the 2 that I would say have the best heads. Beer number 5, which is the Vienna version, that does have a head on it too, but number 1 and number 4 have the biggest head, I should say. Color. Probably not going to pick them up. You guys can see there's a child that probably shouldn't be here. As it doesn't match the rest of this group. But looking at it, I would say from what I can see just looking at this, the first 4 are pretty much the same. If we look at beer 1 and beer 2, same color, same clearness. Then if we go number 2 and number 3, same. Beer number 3 and beer number 4, if anything, I would say beer number 4, the one that uses the cherry, is a little clearer. You can see through it a little bit more. Now that has been sitting out a little bit longer, but I did use the bottle, the rest of the bottle, and poured it in there. The differences start there, where beer number 5, the Vienna version, is hazy. Then obviously beer number 6, from using those 4 ounces of Crystal 40, have really turned up the color into that brown color. So if you're trying to get away from this bright yellow color, it doesn't take a lot. So we use 2 pounds, 4 ounces of 2-row, and then 0.4 ounces of that Crystal 40, and that's what it did to the beer. So very like pumpkin orange color is what we get from using 4 ounces. So let's go ahead and smell them and see what we get. Beer number 1, the Cascade Centennial. I am getting floral, more like a floral sweetness out of there. Let's go to beer number 2. This is the Centennial Cascade. Ooh, more malt. Malt with a little bit of citrus. Not sweet though, it smells like malt. Let's go to beer number 3. Now this is the one that's using half a pound of oats. Citrus. Citrus with a touch of floral in there. Beer number 4 is our cherry wood smoked. citrus, but there's some woodsiness there. Now that I'm smelling them side by side, and if you did watch the cherry wood the video, I said I don't know if that's like smoked or woody coming out of there. Smelling them next to the other ones, you can smell there's some wood smoke in there. Let's go to number 5, which is the Vienna. I smell alcohol, like a citrus floral alcohol in there. Let's go to beer number 6 with the Crystal 40. I am picking up a little bit of light brown sugar. And I think that's the only time you would pick it up if you did a test like this, or if you had even 1 or 2. You can't really pull it out because that citrus floral from the Cascade and Centennial is there. But next to these other ones, there's a little brown sugar, like very light brown sugar in there. Okay, let's go ahead and taste. Beer number 1. Very drinkable. Good, moderate level of floral with some citrus in the back. Aftertaste, you do get some bitterness. That floral comes back, but I think that citrus actually cuts it. Well, I'm not a huge floral fan. Something I would drink, but I probably wouldn't brew it again just because of that floral. Nothing bad, it's just I don't want to drink floral. Yeah, good taste, light and smooth. Let's go on to beer number 2, which is the Centennial Cascade, so the reverse of number 1. I noticed the thickness right up front, more grain. More grain with citrus. So it's almost like a tiny bit of toasted bread in there, citrus. I don't get any floral. I know number 2 was my pick between the first 3 last time when I did this, but I thought there was some floral in there. That floral has faded, I'm guessing, and that citrus has come out, but the funny part, I think, or the weird part, is at least in number 2, that malt is starting to come out, that toasted bread. I'm almost positive I didn't get that toasted bread flavor in there last time. Okay, beer number 3, which was the worst, because we used half a pound of oats and a 2-pound grain bill. Thick, grainy, floral. I don't know. It's not that bad this time. It's very thick. It's weird drink. It's almost like drinking a high ABV thick stout. Yeah, yeah. Good level. A tiny bit of toasted bread. Floral more than anything. And that did use Centennial first, then Cascade. Beer number 4, this is the Cascade Centennial with the cherry wood smoked malt. This is like drinking water going back. A little warmer, but I get fruit. I get like fruit wood out of this with some citrus. There's no way I could pick out cherry, but there is a fruit aspect to that one now, and I don't know if it's just because it is warmer, and that's probably where that taste would start coming out, is when the beer warmed up. But Yeah, definitely getting some fruit wood out of there. Not smoked, which I'm happy about. I don't like smoked beers. But yeah, that fruit wood is in there. Okay, Vienna. Like, it's got floral, but it's got, tasting next to these other ones, it's got a yeast quality in there. I don't like it. Like that yeast floral is mixing together. Not a fan. Okay, let's try the version with Crystal 40. You're getting that a little like roasted malt. Light brown sugar, but it's more of a roasted malt, a more grainy beer. Floral with a hint of citrus, but it's grainier. It tastes like if you ate the grains. That's kind of the taste that I'm getting out of there. It's almost like that Crystal 40 brought out that floral. Like that floral's more potent in the taste, in the aftertaste. Like it's hanging around more. Now, all of them have that, and by the time I get to here, maybe it's just that floral is just sticking in there. But yeah, pretty good though. If I can stop burping. So for most of them, I'm just going to go by what's on sheet 1 because I don't have any. I don't have it on the other ones. IBUs around 31. I think that it's actually perceived lower. You do get some of that grapefruit bitterness in a couple of them, but it doesn't taste like that much. If anything, it's the profile of the hops are really taking over. That's why some breweries don't put the IBUs on there, is because it's all perceived. And right now, I would say there's hardly any IBUs in any of these. I like beer number 4, the cherry. I think that cherry wood kind of rounds out the beer, and it probably goes well with the floral, kind of earthy, wood earthy in there. I think it works pretty well if you're into a woody beer. Let's taste beer number 2. I like that citrus of that one though. 1 second, I'm gonna check to see how much time we have. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna do this with like 15 beers on this table, because I could talk hours and hours about all these. I would say for the most part, I would have to take out beer number 6 and beer number 5. I think beer number 5 has too much of a yeast quality in there. And I think that that floral in that one is just, it's just too much. So we're going to eliminate those two. For the body though, I would have to say the Crystal 40 has a thicker body. Maybe that's what it's supposed to have, because I can't tell you. I don't know, because they're both grain and they're both using the same amount of grain. Maybe the sugars that are in them well, the sugars in them could add to the body. So if they were both fermented out or at the same ABV, I would think the Crystal 40 would be a thicker body because there would still be sugars left behind. Because that Crystal 40 would have more sugar in it, I'm guessing. So if the Vienna had 10 grams of sugar and the Crystal 40 had 20 grams, that means if they both fermented to the same ABV, let's just say you're still going to have 10 grams of sugar in the Crystal 40. So that would add to the body. So yeah, the Crystal 40 version has a thicker body. So out of the first four, actually, beer number 3, this is the oat version. It's almost like a bland taste. I don't really get anything until the aftertaste, and it's a tiny bit of like lemon and floral. So I would have to take that out. So between these three, let's taste beer 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 4. I like how the citrus plays in the back of this one. Not as much floral. Beer number 2, the Centennial Cascade, I think does outshine at this point the Cascade Centennial. The Cascade Centennial, I think that Centennial is, because it's a higher alpha acid, is starting to take over. Where last month when we did it, that Cascade was still fresh and that floral could dominate. I think right now, tasting both of them side by side, that Centennial is taking over in beer 1, and it's almost like beer 2, but beer 2, because there's more Centennial in there, has a dominant almost like a lemon citrus flavor in there. So I would eliminate beer number 1. Beer 4, beer 2. This is hard. Beer 4 is the warmest. I'm going to have to give it to beer 2. I still like that lemon citrus that's in there, a little bit of bitterness. There's a touch of floral, but not that much. Maybe some white bread, like sweet, almost toasted bread. Like it's got malt, so it's going to have some kind of bread. But I think that lemon citrus really sticks out and balances this one well. For a cherry wood smoked, I want some of that smoke. I want some of that cherry. There's a touch of fruit wood in there, but it really does nothing. From this, I want to keep drinking beer number 2. So the beer number 2, the Centennial Cascade version, is still the winner. Next month, though, it's going to be interesting. We do have 2 or 3 more that I will be able to add. One uses a cereal, an adjunct of cereal, I should say. So that should be a fun one to check out. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Sorry it was so long. They are going to get longer when we do these. So if you like this video, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you know when new videos are coming out. And until next time, happy brewing.